Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. Today, the film The Founder. This is a fascinating film. It's so rare for me to actually watch a film and feel really empowered by the story. Like I'm being told something in a very interesting and engineering-centric fashion. The Founder is about, I can't think of his first name. Now I'm recording this short funk, but Mr. Kroc. Let's call him Mr. Kroc, because Kroc was his surname. And how he discovered, in his 50s, the McDonald's brothers in San Bernardino, California, I think. At least that part of my memory might be correct. And in doing so, he realized that certain engineering principles, when applied to the preparation of food, could actually create what we now know as McDonald's. Now, obviously, McDonald's has a very curious and somewhat, I don't know, not a particularly positive view, right? It's not an amazing company. It's similar to a tobacco company in some regard, associated with its effect on society and broader health. But at the time, it once was an amazing breaker of previous paradigms. I recall the US prior to Starbucks, only very briefly, but in large part this came through a conversation that I had in a flight to the US in 1998. My recollection of the US prior to Starbucks was when I was here in 1990, and it was associated with ordering coffees of various descriptions, sometimes iced, then I would ask occasionally if they could put milk in my iced coffee. Just all very curious. Like, there was no coffee culture in the US prior to Starbucks. Now, obviously, to say that out loud, clearly there were a number of folk that knew how to make coffee. Clearly, obviously, there was a large Italian and also South American community that had coffee very centrally in terms of actually making it from ground beans. But in general, in the US, prior to Starbucks, it was very, very, very common to have some pretty horrendous brew served to you. So, in this light, I'm very sympathetic to the narrative of the Founder. Without giving away too many spoilers, the whole concept of fast food didn't exist in the US in the 1950s. In fact, what fast food meant then, or I guess what diner food meant then, was a series of somewhat ambiguous interactions which typically ended up with the wrong food being presented to the customer. And that is the start of this film. It's a fascinating film associated with psychologies. It's a fascinating film associated with control. In particular, the way in which individuals work within small companies as the companies grow. And also how a couple of simple ideas can be exaggerated, perpetuated, taken to extremes when scaled at great length. So, The Founder is a uber capitalism kind of film. It's not in any way a film that has long-standing social values or these kind of things. It's about raw capitalism at a period of time when raw capitalism could exist in a somewhat childlike fashion. But if you perpetuate what you see in The Founder to today, we have today in all its wanton scariness. But in the 1950s and 1960s, this is a beautiful vision associated with hope, possibility, and ultimately a generation that had come back from the Second World War and may not have been getting what they were initially promised. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.